We're Batman at 89. Hello and welcome once again to Bat Minute 89, the show that blasts you with its trouser-held cannon of knowledge 3 days a week. I am one of your hosts, John Parker.
And I am quaking in fear at John's trouser cannon, Niall McGowan.
Hello, Niall.
Hello, John.
Hello. And we are joined by two very special guests. It's the return of Monday's superhero team-up. Who are you? Who are you?
Adam the Creator. Yep, and I'm Darth Laric, a.k.a. Luke.
Yes, and they are joining us from the Dark Knight Minute podcast, which you've probably heard of as well, I imagine, because we're always all over each other's Twitter pages. So,
Yeah.
For obvious reasons, similar topic.
Yeah, it's what they call synergy in the old business terms.
Yeah, synergy. You're getting a bit too into the business speak since we did the Ellis minutes of Die Hard Minute. Please don't.
I'm doing $1 million deals for breakfast now, John. Let me tell you. I can handle these.
Well,
I was going to say Euro trash, but it's like, we're the Euro trash, I guess. So I can handle these American trash.
That doesn't have the same ring to it.
No, not at all.
But what I'm doing for breakfast, or well, it's actually the afternoon, but nobody needs to know that, is I am analysing minute 101 of Batman. And the minute starts with bat-related murder. And it ends with the Batwing exploding into a fiery ball of death.
A lot of death.
That's a shame.
Just death all over this damn minute.
Death. It was death last week. Oh, geez.
Yeah, but it's death you cared about last week.
Oh, man.
That was the thing. This is just like, oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, the potential death of Batman, that's nothing.
Oh, come on. He's fine. There's 3 other movies after this one.
Yeah, it's a different guy playing him, though, So are we to believe it's the same character?
Oh, well, I mean, we'll get into that when we get to that, I guess.
Well, actually, I suppose technically, no. I mean, there's only 2 more guys playing him in this series. There's not 3. But never mind. So we're back with Batman. He's in the Batwing. He's ready to spring into action and take the crooks down. And he activates his targeting computer. Now, Niall, this must be what people are meaning when they say he has the same targeting thing as an X-Wing. We thought it was the screen. But it must be this. I don't think it's that similar, though. It's kind of a same concept. But people were saying online, it's the same thing.
Really, I always get hung up in the fact that it looks like it's just like Batman's taking out some kind of opera glasses. It's just like, that's what it looks like to me.
Batman at the opera. That would work. It's got a Phantom of the Opera vibe, this Burton one.
Well, I mean, technically, within Batman Begins, Batman at the opera led to some terrible things. But
of course,
yeah, that was our podcast when we got into that. So yeah, Batman and the opera, there is connections.
A lot of psychology in that minute.
Yeah, that might be where they got the idea then. They saw this and they were like Niall and they went, you know what would be cool? If he was at the opera.
And then they had that really annoying thing. So I know you guys will have covered it, but your gut instinct is to be like, oh, it's the Fledermaus they're watching because it's the bat. And then it's just like, no, it's actually Mephistophel. And it's like, what the hell's Mephistophel? No one knows. It's not as popular as the Fledermaus. But if you look into it, that's what it actually is.
Mephistophel.
It's another retelling of Faust, I believe, like Dr. Faust.
Oh, yeah. So. Yeah. I figured that because I was thinking along the lines of Mephistopheles. I was like, is it like that? Okay, cool.
But anyway.
Are we going to do an opera-related podcast or a play-related podcast?
I don't know. I'm not prepared for that.
Oh, you don't have to be. You just have to be willing to go with the flow.
Someone doing Les Mis, Les Mis 1 minute at a time, but they have to go every week to watch the whole show again and take a note in that 1 minute. I was like, oh Christ, better get my tickets for next week.
Not even the movie version, though. Just the actual.
Yeah, they refuse to watch the movie version.
I was just being like when they had the stand-ins come in, it's just like, oh, I mean, I know we're talking about the other guy who played, Jean Valjean last week, but he's off now for this month, so we got his stand-ins come in, and he's not as good.
Yeah, it's me, the person who can't sing. I'm worse than the movie version. He stole a loaf of bread. But anyway, where the hell were we? We've only just started the minute.
Batman with the opera glasses. That
was it. That was it. I mean, I'm hoping that the Batwing doesn't need constant like flight adjustments because, like, oh boy, his eyes are not on the sky road, whatever you want to call it. He's not watching because, as you see, this is targeting in a minute. It's targeting the Joker. So this thing could start spiraling out of control. I'd want my hands and my eyes active.
Yeah. Well, that's always strikes me as quite strange as well, because I always assume, like, you see him, he brings out the little opera glasses thing, and he puts his finger up onto the handle, and then you see a close-up of a finger pushing a button, and for some reason in my head, I always assumed that was his other hand pushing a button elsewhere, and that's what sets off everything. But no, it's the firing mechanism for the cannons and whatnot is on the thing. But that seems very odd, because how do you adjust exactly where you're aiming and stuff? Because that thing is static. Like, you can't move it around and things. It's just more like this thing is slotted in place, and if you need to, alternate or anything, you can't, because it's just a thing fixed onto a pair of goggles. It struck me as very, very odd. So I thought if he had like a joystick or whatnot, like down elsewhere, he'd be able to kind of move it around and whatnot. But no, he doesn't have that.
I think it's another case of Burton just going, that looks cool. It doesn't make any practical sense. No, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, if you watch carefully, like, he has the finger on the trigger on the opera glasses. He shoots, and then it launches a bunch of the missiles at all the goons. But then it switches to him targeting the Joker, and then his finger is somewhere else hitting a different button.
Yeah.
There's two different buttons he's hitting that he's keeping track of.
There must be, right? Because something that really confuses me, the missiles fire, as you say, and then you see the goons. But the goons look like they're getting shot by the cannons.
Yeah.
Like there's loads of little sparks and things. That's not the missiles, is it?
No. That looks like proper explosions. Yeah. Whereas he goes after the Joker with the machine guns. So unless they're just very, very minor explosives.
It could be. Maybe the rockets, I mean, we don't see. Maybe they fire and then do they split into little
like a cluster
explosions?
missile?
Yeah, like a cluster kind of thing, maybe.
Yeah, I guess that makes kind of sense.
That makes more sense because they look like they'd cause a big explosion to me, and they're not doing that.
But no, this whole section here in the original script, this is one of the things, like, they go into great detail of what exactly happens. Well, I'll read it out here. The Batwing itself at this point, because within the original script, the Joker also has a tank hidden under the float.
Yes, so, I love that.
Yeah, he nips out. He's got a tank, so he's firing back. And then the Batwing itself is already taking some damage. And then he starts, it says, the Batwing, trailing thick black smoke, bears down on the tank like a kamikaze plane. Bomb bays open as Batman dumps the last of his high explosives directly into the path of the tank. It takes a hard bounce off the top of the tank and then crashes into the street. And then suddenly a gaping chasm opens underneath the tank as the bombs go off, and Broad Avenue begins to split wide open. And it talks about then everything sinking into this chasm on top of a subway train, which then crashes. And you can imagine, like, whoever was like the John Peters and the producers and whatnot getting this version of the script, and that been the first thing with a big red pen going, nope, take all that out. Way too expensive. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Way too expensive.
It's a good idea, but I imagine. I mean, it was already an expensive movie.
Yeah.
I don't think they needed extra.
There's two things I can imagine that were in that original script that would have been instant nopes. That was one of them, and that bit in the Smilex advert when it was alluding to the Joker killing a baby. You just know that was like, nope. That's the first thing. No. Get that out. And they've gone for just sort of not generic, but there's a random carnage going on as we see goons sort of taking hits and falling off things, and close to these kind of vinyl red and white striped tents, which I think you see a lot of in the second movie. Like, for some reason I got real flashes of Batman Returns when I saw those. I was like, I think those feature in the second one quite a bit. But and then of course we get another shot of the Joker who's turned into some kind of, wacky inflatable arm flailing tube man with his arms just going crazy here, trying to get Batman's attention. Noticeably, whatever the filming technique used was, there's a difference in the lighting, because it looks from the back like he's wearing like a kind of a darker red, almost maroon hat and coat, whereas we know from the front, when it's more well lit, it's just dark purple. And it's one of those sort of like, yeah, I guess it's just a thing. In posts, they were like, we can't, this is the best we got. It's just...
I think that's what it is, yeah. It just maybe didn't show up properly. They've had to sort of tinker with it a little bit.
Yeah.
Because they don't mention this in any of the materials that we've got, do they? It didn't stand out to anyone enough to bother telling us the story.
I'm feeling that this person flailing the arms, this isn't Jack Nicholson either. This is very much like a post thing of like, just get some guy in a hat and the coat, and it doesn't even have to be the same hat and coat. Just get one that's vaguely like it, and it'll work. No one's
just
gonna
wave
care.
about.
Yeah.
But what makes the Joker so cocky, so confident, standing there like that? Like, how does he know he's not going to get hit? Is he using the Force? Is he astral projecting? Is it a hologram like in Total Recall? Like, I don't understand.
Well, this is crazy, and it's kind of fortuitous that we have, you guys here, because once again, a lot of people have brought this up in the show before. This scene is very, very similar to a thing that happens in The Dark Knight, when the Joker's walking down the street towards the Batpod and doing it, like, oh, I want you to do it. Come on, hit me. And then within that movie, though, it makes total sense that like Batman is hurtling towards him, and then because of his own moral code and the fact that he doesn't want to kill anybody, at the last second he opts out of doing it, and he swerves out of the way and then crashes and gets knocked out. In this version, though, this is just like,
yeah, there's no reason for him not to go and kill him. Yeah, it is particular in a lot of ways, and I can't help but feel that it's just Joker being the embodiment of like an agent of chaos, just saying, yeah, go ahead, try it, just kind of egging him on like that. And I don't know what gave him his confidence. Maybe it's complete insanity, like he has no idea. But the thing with the Joker is that there's nothing about him that makes a whole lot of sense in a lot of ways, especially Jack Nicholson's character. He's almost like a cartoon mobster in a lot of ways. And
absolutely,
it just kind of like, and of course it just pays off when all the bullets, and that's another thing that gets me is like, you would imagine that Bruce Wayne would have like the top of the line targeting systems and weapon systems on his plane, and yet they all miss. They hit everything else, but I'm actually kind of also thinking that in a lot of aircraft, I think the weapons are actually designed to shoot those weapons at a farther range, and I'm wondering if he was just too close that it messed everything up, because I mean, like, it's not like Top Gun where, you're flying above the enemy ship or anything like that. It's like, okay, we have like incoming fighters that are like, 2 miles away, and now we're going to start targeting our systems at them. And, it's like a really far range for what they're designed to do. So I'm wondering if he's just too close and it just messed everything up.
The other thing, though, is that, like, theorize, like, oh, why? How exactly does this targeting system miss him? But then also, like, in contrast to like the Heath Ledger Joker, is like a level of psychotic where he is kind of quasi-suicidal anyway, because he wants Batman to kill him because he knows, like, I know this guy doesn't kill people, and this will mess up his whole moral reputation, his moral code. That's what he's constantly doing the whole movie, is like, you're going to have to break your one rule and stuff. So he's like, I want him to kill me because then I've won. And he does it, and later on he's handing Harvey Dent a gun and putting it to his head, going, go ahead and do it, and this kind of stuff. But this version of the Joker we know to be quite narcissistic, and he doesn't give you Batman doesn't have that moral code either. Like, he's killed loads of people in this movie so far. He blew up a whole chemical factory. So his whole just standing and come to me doesn't make any sense for his character either. And it's quite odd in that, like, in the novelization, apparently, they do have that he's supposed to, they had the logic that like he's actually dancing around. He's doing like a waltz in the street, kind of mocking.
I love that. Can I just point that out?
That would have been great.
Yeah, that would have been so much fun to see.
And that makes sense. It's kind of just crazy mockery of just like, and but this one's very much just like, I am standing static right here. Why don't you just kill me? And it's just like, why is he inviting him to do it? He's not really, he doesn't know he's going to miss. There's no mockery in it. Him dancing around and going like, hey, try to hit me is kind of mocking him. But
yeah, that's funnier as well.
But so it's just very odd decision for this scene.
Yeah, I just don't know if they ever established Joker being an expert on like aircraft weapon systems, and he's like, oh, he's totally too close a range to target me effectively, so I'm totally in the okay.
He knows.
Well, maybe he had been in shopping for high-tech weaponry recently, and that's how he realized, he's too close, he can't hit me. I've been looking into these toys recently.
Maybe he's got his own plane, a Joker plane.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Like maybe this was like the last thing that when him and Bob were in private, it was the last thing he told him. He was just like, sir, if something should happen to me during this final battle, I just need you to know, if a fighter jet is too close to its target, its targeting system is completely off and it can't hit it. And the Joker's just like, I'm just remembering Bob's, the final gift he gave me,
honoring his memory. Yeah. I love the look on Joker's face as well, because I don't know whether it's meant to be the character or Jack Nicholson, but he looks braced for impact. Like, the look on his face is like, he's smiling, but there's a bit of a grimace there, like, oh god. Like, is it because Jack Nicholson's got the explosions going off around him, and he's just like, ugh. Or is it the character like bracing himself to get shot?
It's very noticeably like, yeah, these eyes are closed because it's like, I don't want any dirt or anything getting in my eyes here.
Yeah. I just thought that was a good little thing, because even if it's the actor, it's like, well, no wonder, to be honest. I'd be doing the same damn thing. It would have been cool if Joker had just slapped some shades on as the plane came in, like, to guard his eyes.
But that's always the thing that I remember. I think it's been sort of poo-pooed now, but there was the story when the Dark Knight came out that, like, when the Joker blows up the hospital, and there's a whole business of like, oh, well, his kind of standing and the bomb not going off properly and him messing around with the remote was supposed to be improv. And I think people have come out more recently and been like, no, it was all in the script that was supposed to happen. But the thing that always struck me is the fact, because Heath Ledger was legitimately seemed very, very close to that explosion. And as he's walking away, there's like hot, debris, like rocks just landed next to him and stuff. And that just struck me as like, that's insanely unsafe. Like, that's kind of what Jack Nicholson's doing here. It's like, oh, there's going to be little things going off around you. There's going to be dust and stuff, so close your eyes. But then with Heath Ledger, it's kind of like, yeah, there's going to be an explosion behind you, and there's going to be, it's an actual explosion, and we're in a controlled environment, but there's still going to be like, random bits of brick and stuff just cascading out of the sky around you. So, yep, try not to get yourself incredibly injured somehow.
Good luck.
Yeah.
And then one of the best bits of the movie, Joker. He whips his coat to the side as if he's trying to sell you fake watches. But no, from out of his pants, he whips it out. A gun. Not any gun. One hell of a gun. Ridiculous.
And this is the minutes that Luke and I specifically wanted, because we wanted this exact part. And this gun is... So as far as in the movie's reality, he has had this gun in his pants for the entire parade.
Yeah.
How did he get off of the float with this gun in his pants? Because he can't bend his leg at this point, because it's as long as his leg.
That's an excellent question. I hadn't even thought about it. Yeah, I didn't even consider the fact it's surely been there the whole time.
I remember like
what?
Like when I was a kid, I used to tried to logic this. I used to always think it's because you see it's a telescoping thing. Like later on he does close it up again. So I was always under the impression like maybe the little sight at the end of the barrel, maybe he has a thing in his trousers that he hooks that onto. So as he's taking it out, he's actually extending it out, and then he unhooks it, and that's how he gets it finally out of his trousers. because that was the only thing. Maybe that's how they did it. I don't know, within the film as well. It's like, yeah, you have it all closed up and then put it in, and something's holding it, so you can, as you're taking it out, it is extending. But there's a lot of that. Like that would have been, the Joker himself would have had to very specifically have like, while he's putting that in his trousers, make sure he has a little thing hooked on. And it'd be all for appearances. It'd just be like, this would be really cool if someone sees it and people will be like, that crazy Joker with his crazy gun.
That is... I'm still lost. I follow you, but... Oh, Jesus Christ. I researched the gun.
Oh.
Because that's my mandate, apparently. This gun, knowing nothing about guns, yet again, I don't know a single thing. This is a Smith & Wesson Model 15-3, but with a custom 21-inch barrel. 21 inches.
Yeah, but they had to They had to make this custom. Really?
Well, I think it's it doesn't exist.
You're telling me you can't just go out and buy this gun? Like, this is a thing they had to get made specifically.
Like, what? Why has he got that barrel? Can I first ask? Because is it solely to be weird? Like, oh, I'm the Joker, I'm crazy. Because surely that wouldn't it make, I don't know a lot about guns again, right? Wouldn't it make it less powerful? Because it has longer to travel down the barrel?
No, it would make it more accurate. Because, I mean, if you think of like a sniper rifle, it has a really long barrel. And so it comes out of that barrel really fast. And so it's actually going to make it shoot a lot straighter. Ah. But yeah, like as far as power goes, that should have absolutely no effect at all. like if you want like stopping power, then they'd have to be like really big bullets.
Yeah, I mean to bring down it's not like a giant plane, but it looks sturdy, doesn't it? I'm pretty sure just a normal pistol wouldn't bring down a plane like that.
Yeah, do you know the caliber of bullets that gun uses?
No, actually, no. I didn't find that, unfortunately. I could look it up on the air.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think, what type of a caliber would be required to take a plane down. And I mean, a Magnum round is a lot more powerful than a normal round, but I'm thinking it has to be at least a 44 Magnum. And for you guys who don't know, a 44 Magnum is like the most powerful handgun in the world. And it's the same handgun that Dirty Harry uses. And so
I know it's in Taxi Driver as well. Because I know it's the guy's pitching him the gun. It's just like, yeah, they use this in Africa to shoot elephants. It's like, that's his pitch for the 44 Magnum. I was like, that's a pretty powerful gun.
Yeah, that's probably the only thing that I can think of as being like the only legitimate like round that could take a plane like that. Because I don't know if anything less than that would really be enough. Other than if he like had a custom fitted for like a 50 caliber, which is a round that they use for sniper rifles. And yeah, like that doesn't just cut through a person. It'll cut through like a brick wall that he's hiding behind.
Whoa.
So yeah, those bullets will definitely have the power to take down a plane, but yeah, I just find it funny that it's not that the barrel is wider to show like a bigger round, it's just longer
for no reason.
That's a great comedy behind it. It's like having it being longer doesn't make it more powerful, but in
comic book terms, it can. That's fine. We can accept it, can't we? Because I looked up the caliber for you. Then again, I don't know what this means. .38 special.
Okay, and I would say that is kind of a typical round for a Magnum. Like, again, I'm not an expert on guns either, but I guess just from personal research and also video games, that's a little bit more of a powerful round. It might do some damage to a plane, but it's not like a 44 Magnum where, it would like sweep Joker off of his feet.
Well, I did note that I looked into the gun myself. The one thing like I came across is that there's a guy on YouTube whose channel is Jeremy S. And apparently it's not the same make of gun, but he does have he custom made a gun with a barrel this length, just to see what it would be like. And his thing, he does walk around with it a bit as well in his jeans, and you see how insanely awkward it would be to walk around with it. He's just kind of limping around the woods going, yeah, this is insanely impractical. I guess maybe he's wearing tight jeans. The Joker does have kind of slightly baggier pants, but I don't think that would make much of a difference. But the one thing is, like, I know because when the Joker fires, he takes it out, and note as well, he slightly kind of turns it to the camera as if, or turns it even towards Batman to go like, look at this gun I got, huh? And then takes aim. But when he fires, like, there's a real look of like grim determination on his face, and the recoil kind of sends him back. But when this guy shot with it out in the woods, he was just like, bang. Yep, it just fires like a normal gun. There's no recoil to this at all. Like beyond the normal level, there would be. You know,
it's custom made. He's dealt with that problem.
Yeah. Well, when he does shoot. Well, when he pulled it out and turned it sideways, the only thing I thought of to explain why he did that is he's checking the chamber real quick to make sure it's ready to go, and then he takes aim. But then when he shoots it, I mean, it sounds like a cannon when it goes off. And I don't think that small of a caliber, the 33, I don't think it's going to quite make that loud of a bang.
No,
I wonder what...
No.
He customized.
It has to be like
there.
He must have a 50 caliber or something, because I mean that's like as big as you can get. I mean that'll take down the Batwing easily.
And he's the Joker. He can do what he wants.
Yeah, exactly.
And we know he's good with science.
But I do have to ask if you guys, when you requested this minute specifically, as guys doing the Chris Nolan Batman films, which is, you know, notorious for being so stringently like it has to be realistic, were you just looking for some kind of catharsis of like, because this is the exact kind of thing Chris Nolan would have been against, of like, guy has crazy long gun that can shoot down a plane, a crazy long, you know, like clown gun that can shoot down a plane, just in his trousers the whole time, and you saw earlier he physically couldn't have had it in there. So was it just a part of you going like, we just need to talk about something that's actually like crazy and not actually within the realm of possibility at all?
I think that's part of the reason why, because again, like the Nolan films are so heavily emphasized on the practicality of everything. Like I wouldn't call it realistic per se, but I would call it utilitarian. And so like everything has to have like a kind of a logical sense to it or some sort of purpose behind it. And like this bombastic, over the top personality that the Jack Nicholson Joker has is something that I kind of miss in the, you know, very, very, again, kind of that more grounded reality that the Dark Knight trilogy has.
I think that there must have been words on set, because I've read the script of the Dark Knight, like when they just had that, and that was all they I don't know how far they were into casting and stuff when they finalized it, but like, and I remember like between 2005 and the film coming out, very early on, Chris Nolan was going, this is going to be like a grim, serious version of the character. He's not your wacky clown guy. And then when you actually see the movie, though, the Joker is funny in it, though. He is cracking jokes, and he is doing funny stuff. But when you read that script, he doesn't come across that way. I do wonder if Heath had to have words and go like, he's the Joker, right? He has to be funny in some capacity. He has to do some kind of crazy stuff. And I think he's improv, like that whole business of like, the one that really stood out to me is, in the mob meeting, and Gamble's just like, oh, you think you can just steal from us and walk away? And then in the movie, he's just like, yeah. And that's I remember in the cinema, I got a huge laugh from people. That's not in the script. I can imagine that was like a Heath Ledger insistence of like, I have to put in a couple of funny beats here because, it's the Joker. He's supposed to be kind of zany and stuff as well. Like it's like, with respect to what you're doing with the trilogy and whatnot, it's like, I'm going to have to liven this character up a smidge more than you've done him already, kind of
well,
thing.
You also have that moment in Dark Knight where Batman falls off of the Bat Pod, and then like after they've had that little standoff, and then the one goon goes to reach for the mask and shocks him, and then he just goes berserk. It's like yeah, you wouldn't expect, that to be in a script for a Chris Nolan film of all things, but I totally believe that was something that was improv by Heath Ledger.
Like even the aftermath of that though, when Gordon pulls the gun on him and he's just like, "Oh, can you just give me one more minute?" Like that strikes me as like as an improv as well. It's like, but I'm sure you guys will obviously get in that in much more depth.
Save it.
Next year.
Yeah, probably in about a year or so. Yeah, that'll take us a while to get to. We're still like halfway through Batman Begins.
Well, I had a couple of other things about the gun. I thought something that was funny is that it says here that the gun is often used by law enforcement. So I just thought it was funny that then the Joker has ruined it with the stupid barrel.
Like some American cops just like, "Oh, hold it right there, buddy," and taking out this huge barrel gun. It's like, wait a minute.
Well, this gun with a much shorter barrel is used by Chief Brody in Jaws, Sam Loomis in Halloween,
cool,
Al Powell in Die Hard.
Nice one.
And loads of other movies. It's in loads. But most importantly, it is in both Silent Night, Deadly Night, Part 2 and 3.
Oh, thank God. Improve the films 10 times by just having
those
that.
Classics.
Silent Night, Deadly Night is the garbage day. Like, is it that gun? Is that the gun he shoots the guy with?
I didn't actually look up when they use it. I just looked up. It is in the movie.
Well, that's
totally could
that's
be.
something for curious listeners. If you want to know, look it up yourselves.
And can I just point out one other thing about the gun that, I might as well bring up the elephant in the room, how terribly phallic it is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because, I'm trying to think about it. I'd like to bring a little psychology into my discussions every once in a while, and I have to pull Freud into it every once in a while. But, I can't help but see this scene and just see it as nothing more than a dick measuring contest.
100%.
Yeah, because it's like, he's trying to egg him on. It's kind of like a show of power or show of masculinity, if you will, and how, Batman has the bombs and the machine guns and the plane and, it proves to be impotent, if you will, whereas Joker pulls out, this huge revolver and in one shot, bang, on target. And so, yeah, I can't help but sense that there's some sort of sexual competitiveness going on in here too, and it kind of goes back to the kind of love triangle that they make between Batman, Bruce Wayne, Joker, and Vicky Vale. And so and then when we get to the next minute, then we'll see him using that same gun pointed at Vicky Vale as well. So
that's a note I've actually got for the next one. That's when I was like, it's kind of phallic actually, and it made me look back at this minute in a very different light, kind of in the way you're thinking. I don't know why I didn't think of it until he sort of waves it at Vicky to put it nicely.
Yeah, that would make sense though. I wouldn't put it past the movie because we talked about something in the mise en scène back in Vicky's apartment when he's having the confrontation with the Let's Get Nuts scene. You see in the background on the mantelpiece is these two very phallic ornaments. At that point, we were like, this is kind of like a dick measuring competition, and that's literally like a visual representation of it. So, yeah, it would make total sense in that, because, say, in that scene, maybe they were more evenly matched. That's why the two ornaments were the same length. Whereas in this one, it's like, oh, no, the Joker is really, really out-measured the Batman with his piece right here. So,
well, speaking of the piece, of course, as we said, he fires, it hits, and the bat is toast.
And the quarterback is toast.
I'm glad you caught on to that, because in my mind, that's what I was referencing, but I didn't want to do the voice. And it crashes in spectacular fashion here, doesn't it? It slams into the steps of the cathedral and explodes.
Yeah.
That is... How? All he did was shoot it with a damn handgun. What's caused the explosion?
Oh, it's one of those, it's like we had during earlier the parade scene. It's just it's that Simpsons logic of just as soon as a car hits something, it has to burst into flames. It's like, it's crashed, so it has to explode. That's just the logic of things.
Oh, yeah, it reminds me of that episode in Simpsons where Homer gets the handgun and they're just it's like, all right, speed loader, yes, loudener, silencer. And this one you use to shoot down police helicopters. I don't think I need that one yet.
We all need that one.
But remember in there's an episode of It's Always Sunny as well. They have I think they're trying to get rid of evidence or something. They're trying to destroy a car, and they have a gun. And they're like, oh, we'll just shoot the petrol tank and it'll blow up. And then they actually do it, and they hit the petrol tank, and just nothing happens. And they're like, I've seen dozens of movies. As soon as you shoot a car, it instantly blows up. That's what's supposed to happen. What the hell's going wrong? I think they throw in a grenade, and then the grenade just kind of goes. Like it's very, very minor damage. It's like, I thought grenades are supposed to cause these huge explosions. Where the hell is it?
Yeah, well, if you look at, like, Mythbusters have actually gone and tried to blow up a gas tank, and they detached the gas tank from the car, just stuck it on some cinder blocks, and they just started shooting at it, and it didn't blow up. And they're like, okay, how can we make this thing blow up? So they had to go and get a permit to get tracer rounds. And it wouldn't blow up until they hit it with tracer rounds. So, yeah.
Well, when it explodes, I mean, obviously it's a model, right? But this is the first time in a few minutes it's so clearly a model it actually distracted me, because these cars around it, they look like Hot Wheels.
Yes, they are blatantly like just little toy cars. It's like the opening of Beetlejuice. It's like I've gone into that little town, and this is the random little like toy cars. It's Alec Baldwin's character was playing with and stuff.
I mean, I'm not knocking it though. It looks cool. It's just it's a model.
Yeah, looking at it now, it's like, oh yeah, you can totally tell that's all fake. But like, this is like 28 years I was watching this, and it was just like, yep, this was seamless to me. When I was a kid, never noticed they were models, so what did it matter, But
yeah.
I didn't even notice until right now. Like, I'm looking at a freeze frame of the very end of the minute, and I'm like, oh crap, they are Hot Wheels.
They are, aren't they? They've just stuck them there. Like, there you go, fine, done.
Yeah.
Well, you work with what you've got. Well, actually, I had a note here. The model team, actually, they had to do their shot second from the actual full size stuff, which annoyed the visual effects supervisor Derek Meddings. I don't get why he's annoyed, right? Because he said he wanted to go first with the model shot, so that then with the full size things on the actual sets and that, they could place the physical ones, where the model ends up landing. It's easier to do that, according to him. You can just put it however it landed, etc. But the way around they did it, he had to get the model to land in the exact position that they'd shot the other scene, which he found a real pain. But surely, either side's going to find that a pain. Nobody's going to be happy having to match the other. But he was complaining about it online.
Imagine at that point in filming, like him going to Tim Burton, because we know from like hearing on set interviews and stuff that like Tim started off really enthusiastic, and then like the suits kind of wore him down to the point where like he'd in several interviews he does seem a bit bitter about the whole experience. Can you imagine him coming in like, Tim, why do they have to go first? Why can't I go first? And him just being like, Derek, I don't care, and just like, just do it, damn it, all right.
Yeah, he probably just had enough by this point. Screw this, get it over with.
It's like, Tim, we're making these model cars, and we're like, look, just go out and buy some Hot Wheels, all right? Just put them in the shot, and no one's gonna notice.
Well, speaking of having enough of something, I'm noted out after that Derek Meddings tidbit.
Yeah, I'm good to go into the next minute. Unless you two guys, do you have anything else you want to dip in with?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed the gun talk.
Oh yes,
we sound
and
crazy.
Then Luke got his psychology minute in, so
well, we'll get more of that.
I got to talk about Freud.
There's going to be a lot of chance for that in the next one, so don't worry. Join us on Friday, everybody, if you're excited to hear more of that. And before we go, one more time, would you like to tell our listeners where they can find you if they aren't already listeners of yours, which I'm sure they are?
Yeah, if you want to find us, go to geekmindfusion.com, and you can find our show there. You can find all our social media links, and then we're on all your favorite podcatchers. Just search Dark Knight Minute.
Yeah, and make sure to check them out. It's all great stuff. And check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr. Just put in Batminute89. We'll come up. We're number one. We're the best. And we'll be back on Friday with more Batminute 89. We'll have a minute 102. We're getting very close to the end here now. So join us again then.
Next time, Crash Bandicoot with the Batman-turned-Splatman. On which regal religious refuge will the repulsive rapscallion of ribaldry arrange his rescue rendezvous? Find out Friday. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.